Michiko and Hatchin, episode 15, Graffiti in Vain. A pretty interesting, weird sort of love story that I really enjoyed for this episode. It was kind of an interesting end as well because, honestly, I was trying to figure out if he sort of had memories or if he lost his memories again. Because just the way they ended it, it was like, well, of course that was Hatchin, unless that actually was a different girl, which I'm pretty sure it wasn't. It was Hatchin. But it was like he lost his memories again, but at the same time, he realized that there was another girl that actually did look a lot like Hatchin, I guess, in the past. And she was the one that was in that building when it blew up and she passed away. But it was an interesting sort of story. I really didn't get what was happening with Hatchin this entire episode either. Like, she was just like hated. I understood in the beginning, like, if she didn't just instantly fall for the guy, that made sense. And like her running from him, but when she did decide that she cared, and she even went to his house, and then she like totally flipped and was like, I hate you and your stupid face, and ran. I was like, what is going on with her in this episode? I was so confused by it, but it was fun to watch. It was not at all what I thought this episode was going to be, because I mentioned in the review, my last review, I thought for sure that this was going to be sort of a part two to the last episode. Nothing at all happened, and I'm just going to stop thinking that's going to happen from now on. I will never think that again unless it's a part one or two, because there are there are a million things from that last episode that should have carried on. Like, she had two assassins coming after her, and then it was just like, nope, they're both done. The guy couldn't kill her in one shot, the old guy, so I guess he just stopped. And then the other dude, after jumping off the bridge, I guess we can just assume he died or something. I don't know. It was just like, all right, it's definitely gonna carry on because she has to get these parts and this and that. And it was just, this episode started, and it was just like none of that mattered. And I saw the info like just before I started watching, and I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna focus on Hatchin. So I thought the whole episode was gonna be about Hatchin until they showed Michiko, and then it was like, nope, this is after everything that happened in the last episode, and she's gotten back to the village, or back to the town, and it's like, well, what the heck happened then? There were like two assassins after her, and there was all this stuff with the guy's truck got destroyed. How did she, get the engine and get back, and all this other stuff? And it was just like, it doesn't matter, and it just went to the next story, and that kind of sucked. Like, that's the only thing I don't like about this series, honestly, is that there are episodes that happen where it's like, this should definitely continue on in the next episode, and it just skips over it. It's almost like we get the beginning, and then it like skips over what should be the ending and just makes an abrupt one, and that kind of sucks because that was an awesome action episode, and I thought for sure she has two assassins coming after her. Something's gonna happen there, and then it was nothing. Like, they mentioned Satoshi in this episode where Michiko's like, there are rumors that he's in the next town over, and that's really it. And other than that, it was a total Hatchin episode, and her and this really weird love story. But aside from that, which did admittedly kind of make me angry when I first saw it, I was like, okay, well, they'll get back to the Hatchin stuff or the Michiko stuff in the next episode, and it was like, oh no, there's Michiko right there. This is after, and she mentions the moped and stuff, and I'm like, this doesn't, it annoyed me a little, but the main story that was focused on was definitely entertaining. It was a normal sort of love story where this boy who totally looked like a girl, like, I thought that was a girl for sure when I first saw him. Uh, we have this boy who kind of falls for Hatchin as soon as he sees her, and it's like a part of his memory came back when he saw her because it reminded him of, I'm guessing, this other girl, or it just reminded him of something in this book. Maybe there never was a different girl. And that's one of the things about the ending. I'm not 100% sure. Because, of course, the flashback that they show was Hatchin. When he first saw her, she just had the sort of bandana, like, squeezing her head for some reason. I was surprised to see her wearing that, actually. But for whatever reason, she had that. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't her, because it wouldn't really make any sense if, that it would be her. Like, why would she be wearing that, it didn't make sense to me, but maybe it really was a different girl. Like, maybe it was someone that just looked a lot like her and just also liked the book. And I guess that really is what that was supposed to be. And it was the actual, there was an actual different girl. They just made it where she looked a lot like Hatchin, and they don't explain that until the very end. And it's like, oh, that was never Hatchin. It was just a different girl that looked like her. But at the same time, I don't know if they gave an actual date for that stuff. So it could have been Hatchin, but I'm gonna go with that he gained his memories and he did actually remember her. It does make it um, a lot cooler, and it was kind of sad at the same time because it was like he did regain his memories, and at the same time he did find something in Hatchin that he said it himself, like, I would never forget you, and he really didn't. He remembered at least something about this girl, and he remembered that this is where she was and this is where she passed away. And it was like, you looked a lot like her, and she wanted to read the book as well. And that's why, once again, that's why I was a little confused. And maybe you guys could tell me, because when I was watching it, I was pretty much focused only on that. I wasn't doing anything else, really. So maybe it was a different time, and I just didn't realize it. But, I mean, he looked the same, as far as I was concerned, from when they had the girl with the oranges, if that wasn't actually Hatchin. But I don't know. Like, it was one of those things. Like, is that really someone else, or was there something I missed? So I would definitely want to know from you guys. But either way, it was definitely an amazing ending. He remembered whether it was a different girl or not, which I believe it was, and that was kind of the point, was that he did remember Hatchin, and that was kind of why he fell for her to begin with, was because subconsciously there was something in his head that made him think of this other girl that he had a crush on, that she looked just like. And it was like the exact same character model. They drew her almost to a T. And I guess it was, like I said, I guess at the end they do kind of explain that it actually was different and it wasn't Hatchin. But and that makes sense. Like, that's why she had like the orange thing in her head. It was like, why is she wearing that? And it was actually a different girl. So I'm gonna go with it was actually a different girl. But I think they kind of did that just to mess around. Because, like I said, I don't know if they put an actual date in that first scene where the girl was looking at the book and she dropped all the oranges. But I don't know. But I definitely love this ending, and it was very cool. It was like, he's there, and Hachin goes out to see him and stuff, and he puts the book down, and it was just sort of somber. It was very somber because, of course, we find out that this explosion, um, that he was there because he liked that girl, and that he probably went to see her just like he always went to see Hachin in this episode. And one day he went to go see her, and the explosion took place, and it wiped his memory out. But it was really cool. It was very bittersweet. It was mostly bitter. Like, it was pretty sad because it was like, oh, well, this other girl died, and he lost. I mean, sure, he's a little kid, but it still mattered to him, obviously. It was someone he had, like, a crush on, and it could have been, like, his first crush, and it really would have mattered, and he wanted her to read this book. And Hachin kind of helped him through that a little bit. And, that's why he kind of fell for her, because like I said, subconsciously, he was reminded of this other girl he'd seen before he lost his memory. And it was just really good. And then, of course, Hachin kind of breaks down at the end, and she sort of realizes love. I think that's what took place. It was like something that she didn't really understand throughout the episode, and she was pushing him away. And then when things are, it's hard to say resolved, but I guess that's what it is. They end, at the end of this episode, she kind of breaks down, and Michiko just kind of has to comfort her. And I love that scene. I think that is honestly, I mean, they've had other scenes where they've been together, but that something about that specific scene just really got to me. It was like, this is probably the most touching scene they've ever had, or they've had so far. I don't know if we'll have more or something that could be more touching, but it was just the combination of, like, Hachin kind of realizing how she felt, and how she mentioned, like, she was happy for, a bit, and then, Michiko just doesn't say anything. She kind of just holds her, and that's how the episode ends. And I just love that. That was very beautiful, to be totally honest. and it was just a good episode. I really did enjoy this one. Like, I actually like this one more than the last one solely because of the ending, because it was sort of a bittersweet ending. And stories can always get me more than action. As much as I love just over the top action and silliness, this one just really got me. Like, it was just really cool. Like, it was fairly simple going through the episode, and then we learned about his condition where if he does regain his memories, he'll forget everything that he's known since the explosion. So he would forget Hatchin, and she wouldn't be able to say goodbye to, I believe his name was Liene or something like that. Something very close to that, or Liene, something very close to that. I can't remember specifically. But she wouldn't be able to say goodbye to that part of him that she actually knew and was familiar with, because it would be different. But she was able to, but she was also able to say goodbye to sort of this new version of him who, new to her, but it was kind of his old self, and they kind of formed as one, and he was a whole new person by the end, and he never forgot her, but he remembered what it was that kind of made her so special throughout this episode to begin with, and it was because of this other girl. So I love this episode. It really just got to me at the end. It was just like, I know, it's just a really good ending. Like, I loved it. So I want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And there really isn't a big question to ask for this one. I mean, the biggest thing is whether or not you believe it was actually a different girl or if it really was Hatchin. And like I said, I don't think I missed anything, but I don't know. Maybe I did, and maybe that is why. Maybe that's why she was crying at the end. It's because she knew it was actually her and it wasn't some other girl. But I don't know, and maybe that's why it was ambiguous. Maybe it wasn't, and like I'm probably gonna go back and see if I missed something because I do really want to know because it felt really ambiguous. Like we have to kind of decide for ourselves, but if there's something I missed, then I'll just have to check it out. But I just want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.